Good morning, this is Tahmina Khan. You have seen in my previous videos the explanation of the complex number, keeping in mind the CAIE syllabus. As I am a teacher of O and A level mathematics in Karachi Grammar School, so I am covering the course of A level mathematics here. So in complex number, in this video, I am going to explain the half-line concept, and after that I have picked up few challenging questions from past paper, so I will try to make video in two to cover those 5-6 questions. They are based usually on exponential form and half-line concept. So on the top you can see it is written TKMaths.blogspot.com. This is the address of my blog on which I am putting the link of all my videos, because at times I have heard that it is difficult to find the videos, so I have put all in the order over there. So let's start. Out of the 4 loci which we cover in the complex number, one is argument of z minus z1 equals to theta, and it is called half line also. Now what is it about and what is the meaning of each symbol here? So z is basically a locus, a path. So we say it is a variable complex number which constrained to move along a certain path. Now this simply means that this is movable point and this is a fixed point, and the theta is the angle which is made between the x-axis, between the horizontal line at this point drawn towards the real axis, real positive axis, and this variable point. We will see below the definition of, explanation of it. So let's see here. Suppose this is point A and I'm calling it a complex number z, and this is point B and I'm calling it complex number z1. When we write in this form, we are writing in the vector form. So if I'm talking about a vector BA going from here to here, it means I'm talking about minus z1 and plus z. So this vector is z minus z1. So when we write here z minus z1, this is the meaning of it, that we are talking about a vector which is in this direction. Now when we say argument of z minus z1 equals to theta, it means you have to draw a horizontal line here. I have taken another just apart from this diagram. This is my z minus z1, and I am drawing a line here in the positive direction and making an angle theta from this horizontal line to the line or to the vector z minus z1. Now this is called half line. We do not draw it on this side. Now theta is representing any angle. For example, it is pi by 3. So plus pi by 3 is in this direction. We have learned from trigonometry that positive angle means counterclockwise, negative angle mean clockwise. If I have here argument of, for example, argument of z minus z1 equals to minus pi by 3, then I will draw line here, and this will be my minus pi by 3. So if I say what I'm explaining here is argument of z minus z1 equals to theta represents a half line, this line, from the fixed point, I'm calling it z1, making an angle theta with the line from the fixed point parallel to the real axis. So this is the meaning of argument of z minus z1 equals to theta. Now let's take an example. Argument of z minus, now instead of z1 I am taking this point. Now when the point is given like this, you have to put it in the bracket. So it will become minus 3 minus 2 iota. So this is the fixed point and this is the movable point. Minus 3 pi by 4 mean now I will draw in the clockwise direction. So let's plot a point on the Argand diagram at 3 minus 2 iota. So this is my point 3 minus 2 iota. Now because the angle is 3 pi by 4, it is clockwise direction. So I am drawing it here, and this is my half line. So now you understand why it is called half line, because we are not drawing to that side. Now let's take just general illustration of the same concept. If I write argument of z minus 2 plus iota equals to 7 pi over 9, it means my point is minus 2 and 1. So this is my fixed point. I will draw a horizontal line here, always in the right hand side direction, parallel to the x-axis, real axis. So, and then this is my angle which I am talking about, 7 pi by 9, and I will draw the line here. So this is my illustration of this example. Let's take this one now. Now my fixed point is what? If you see here, I have written plus 1 plus iota, but I should write in the general form as argument of z minus bracket minus 1 minus iota equals to minus pi by 4. So my fixed point is minus 1 iota. I will draw a straight line here. Because it is negative pi by 4, I will draw the line here. So this is my angle. And if it is written argument of z equals to theta, there is no minus z1. It simply means I'm talking about with respect to origin. So when there is nothing here, it means we have 0 here. So the illustration of this on the Argand diagram will be like this. From the origin, because this is your fixed point, it's 0 here, you will draw a line and it's horizontal line. So this is your theta. So this is a general explanation, because in some questions it is asked argument of z equals to theta. So you should understand what does it mean. And remember, angle theta is in the radian, because in complex number the theta we take is a principal value, and it is taken between minus pi and pi. So 0 to pi and 0 to minus pi. So let's start few challenging questions. I have picked up these questions all from CAIE past paper. And in my past year experience, I have seen that the students usually get stuck on these questions. So I have picked up those 5-6 questions. Again, on the top you can see is my blog address, where I am putting up the link of all of my videos. Okay, so the question is, in one go. In an Argand diagram, the loci argument of z minus 2i equals to pi by 6 and z minus 3 in modulus equals to z minus 3 iota intersect at the point P. So there are two loci which are intersecting at point P, and you have to express that point in the form re iota theta. This is the exponential form of the complex number, and we have already seen the explanation of it in the previous video. And also giving the exact value of theta and the value of r in this form. So let's start. We need to understand first of all what is the meaning of these two Argand diagram or loci. Let's pick them up one by one. Okay, so the first one was argument of z minus 2 iota equals to pi by 6. Now I told you we have to write it down in the general form first, which is z minus z iota equals to theta. So z minus, I will put bracket to get the point. So there is no real part of the complex number here. So it is 0 plus 2 iota because of the bracket here. So now my point is 0 plus 2 iota, and I will draw argument at this point with the angle pi by 6. Let me show you. Okay, so here it is. The point was 0 plus 2 iota. I have drawn horizontal line here, and because it is plus pi by 6, I have drawn line over here, half line. I'm not drawing it over this side. I have explained you already. So now let's see the second. I have just split the two loci into two parts to explain it to you. Then I will join both of them in one diagram. Okay, the second loci given to you is z minus 3 modulus and z minus 3 iota. So if I write it in the standard form, it is z minus bracket 3 plus 0 iota, because there is no imaginary part given here. So it is 0 iota. In this case, no real part is given. So z minus bracket z plus 3 iota. So these are my two fixed points. And we have seen in the previous video that when loci is given in this form, it means it is a perpendicular line. The line which is joining z1 and z2 point, the perpendicular bisector of that line. So let's see the loci of this on the Argand diagram. Okay, so here is the point 0 plus 3 iota and 3 plus 0 iota. So these are my 2 points. On the Argand diagram, join them with a line and then draw a perpendicular line. Not exactly, but just use ruler and divide it equally into two parts and mark the symbol which will show that it is perpendicular, and these two symbols which will show that they are equally divided into two parts. Now we will join these two loci in one diagram. Let's see here. Now we know this is all a sketch. We are not drawing to scale, right? It's not on the graph paper. Okay, so this one is my first loci and this one is my second loci. Now this is the point of intersection and I have to express this point in the form RE iota theta. That was the requirement of the question. Now before I go further, let me explain you what information do we get after plotting this. Now because it is a horizontal line and this is a vertical line, so it is pi by 2 and this angle was pi by 6. It was given in the question. So if I look at this triangle, basically this triangle, I know this side, the length is 2. I know this angle, this is pi by 2 plus pi by 6. So do I know anything else or not? Let's see. Now, do I know anything else or not? How we will decide that? There are certain things which are hidden, not stated clearly, but because of the concept we understand them. For example, if I look at this line which is passing through joining the point 0, 3 and 3, 0, the line bisector of this, what do you think, what will be the equation of this line? It is not stated in the question, but because of our previous knowledge of maths, we know this line will be y equals to x. Because y equals to x is a line which passes exactly through the center and it makes 45-degree angle. So because of that knowledge, we know this angle is pi by 4 and this angle is pi by 4. So in this triangle, now we know this length 2, pi by 4 and this angle. So if in any triangle you know one side and two angle, to find out this length, which is my r basically, because this is my point P, and if I see this triangle, this is my r and this is my theta, which I will write in the form RE iota theta. So I have just drawn this diagram here separately and I am applying sine rule to get the value of r. We have already seen theta is pi by 4 here. So applying sine rule, I got r is 6.699. Therefore, in the form RE iota theta, it will be 6.69 e pi by 4 I. And just to recall previous understanding, telling you once again that if complex number is written in this form, it is called Cartesian form or rectangular coordinate form. If it is z equals to RE iota theta, it is called exponential form. And if it is z equals to r cos theta plus iota sin theta. It is a polar form. Just for your knowledge, e iota theta equals to cos theta plus iota sin theta is a Euler formula actually. And this formula is used to change polar form of a complex number, this form, polar form of a complex number, into an exponential form. So equating this is actually equals to Euler's formula. Now let's pick up another example, another question from the past paper only. The complex number z is defined by this. Find, showing all your working, an expression for z in this form. So I have to change this complex number into this form. And second part is saying find the two square roots of z, and later on I will find out the square root of this. I have shown in my previous video how to find out the square root of a complex number. Now we will see, once we change this into this form, how we will find out the square root in this form. We have seen in the previous video the square roots of the Cartesian form, right? So let's start. We know when complex number is written in this form, z1 over z2, and when I'm talking about here r e iota theta, it means this is the length, and for length we use modulus of z, right? Modulus of z is actually equals to r, the length. So my question is basically in this form. So if I see z1 over z2, I can write it down like this. In the question, my z1 is 9 root 3 plus 9 iota, and z2 is root 3 minus iota. So when I take modulus of z1, it will be this square plus this square under root, and for z2, this square, which is root 3 square, and 1 square minus 1, the coefficient, and I will take root of it. This will give me r. So simple calculation, and I got 9. So my r is now equals to 9. Let's see how do we calculate theta. We know argument of z equals to theta, and if the complex number is given in this form, which is our question actually, so I can write it as argument of z1 minus argument of z2. Therefore, if I rewrite this question, it can be written in this form. Now, argument of z1 is a theta. This is your x-axis and this is your y-axis. So if you remember, when we mark a point, suppose this is 9 root 3 and this is 9, so point is here. So if I want to find out theta, I will do what? I will do tan theta equals to this over this. I have shown you working here, because I just want to tell you how did I get this answer for this part and how did I get this answer for this part. So let's see here. 9 root 3 plus 9. It is here. So this is my point and it is making angle theta here. So tan theta equals to opposite over adjacent. This length is 9 and this length is 9 root 3. So this is giving me angle pi by 6. Similarly, for root 3 minus iota, if I draw the triangle here, so I am getting tan theta equals to pi by 6. And because it is clockwise direction, so I will use minus sign along. That's why I have used here minus sign. I have told you we measure angle from this real axis clockwise and anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise is positive, clockwise is negative. So when it was in this quadrant, this was my positive pi by 6. When it was in this quadrant, it is negative pi by 6. So that's why I have written here minus. So after simplifying it, I got pi by 3. So my theta is pi by 3 and my r is 9. Hence, r is 9, theta pi by 3, and writing in this form, it is equals to this. Let's see the second part of the question, which was asking find the square root of this. Now when we take square root of any number, this is in the complex form, we use plus minus sign, right? This is a common understanding and we all know the reason of it. So when we use plus minus sign here, now I will use only plus because conventionally r is representing a length, and length we just talk about in terms of number. We are not talking about minus in this case. So root 9 is 3, and when we remove the radical sign, which is the square root sign, we use power half. So it will become 3e pi by 6 iota, because 2 times 3 is 6. Now, what are the square roots? Because square roots of z will be 2. Now, here we have certain understanding knowledge from the previous concept. Now, see here, pi by 6, if I generally see it is plus, it is here. So, my one square root will be 3e pi by 6i. Because question says write down the square root in the form re iota theta. So one square root is this, 3e pi by 6. How will I get the other square root? Now you need to understand here that why did I draw this angle here? The concept is the two square roots are always on the same line, form a diameter of a circle. So the difference in their argument is always pi. Now, it may look like to you that you are ratifying it, cramming it, but let me explain you the reason. We have seen the square root of a complex number in the Cartesian form in my previous videos. If you remember, let me put one example here. In the previous video, when we were finding out the square root of 15 plus 8 iota, this was the answer came. Now 4 plus iota mean I am in the first quadrant. Right, this is my real axis and this is my imaginary axis, so my point will be here, and the other square root is minus 4 minus iota, so minus here and minus here, so this is my point. So this makes a straight line. So whenever you will find the square root of a complex number, it will always be on a straight line, and that's why I have drawn pi by 6 here, the other one. So this is not mentioned in the question, but this is the understanding, the concept. And now to find out this answer, I can do pi minus pi by 6 and it gives me minus 5 pi by 6. Here I would like to mention, when you will see this question in the past paper, the marking scheme says plus pi by 2. So there is a mistake in the marking scheme. Actually it is plus pi or minus pi, because from this point, if you do plus pi, you will go from here. If you do minus pi, you will go from here. And plus pi from here will take it out of the range of principal value. Because pi by 6 plus pi will give you 7 pi by 6, which is more than pi. So that's why we do not consider from here, we consider from here. Because we have to stay in minus pi and pi. So I'm repeating overall if it was little difficult for you to understand. When you have to find out the square root of a complex number which is given in this form, because when it is given in this form, it comes automatically and everybody can write it. But when you have to write it in this form, simple calculation will give you one square root. For the other one, you need to understand that you have to subtract minus pi from this angle or plus, depends what sign is here. So range should remain between minus pi and pi. So now with this I will say goodbye to you, and I will make another video for the remaining challenging question. Thank you very much for watching. If you like it, please press the like button and subscribe the channel so that you get the indication whenever I upload my new video. Thank you very much.